Have you ever felt like you're constantly trying to declutter your home, yet your mind feels even messier? That strange sense of fullness and emptiness at the same time. You look around and realize there's too many things, too many choices, too much noise, and yet you're still searching for something that feels like peace. We often accumulate stuff as if it can fix the restlessness inside us. A new item, a better chair, the right gadget. Maybe that'll make life feel less chaotic. But it never does it? Japanese minimalism isn't just about owning fewer things. It's about learning to let go of the idea that more is better. It challenges you deeply, and sometimes uncomfortably, to see what is actually serving you in life, and what is just holding you back. It's not about deprivation, it's about intention. It is a philosophy that teaches us the difference between living fully and simply living with too much. Once you begin to understand this, the idea of decluttering goes beyond your living space. It begins to transform the way you think, the way you make choices, and ultimately, the way you live. Japanese minimalism might look like tidy rooms and neat spaces, but its power lies far deeper than its aesthetics. What truly defines it isn't the emptiness of a shelf or the simplicity of a table. It is the intention behind each object and the quiet respect for space. In Japan, minimalism isn't a trend. It's tied to centuries of cultural tradition, rooted in philosophies like wabi-sabi, the appreciation of imperfection, and the beauty of empty space. These concepts are not just artistic, they're spiritual, practical, and deeply human. While most of us see emptiness as a void, Japanese minimalism sees it as potential. Empty space allows air to move, light to flow, and the mind to breathe. It's the pause between the notes in a song, the part that makes the melody matter. This is a lifestyle built around what truly belongs in your life, not just what fits on a shelf. The aim isn't to throw everything away and live with nothing. It's to keep what matters and create harmony between space and self. When you understand this, you stop decorating for others or out of habit, and you start curating your life for clarity, purpose, and peace. There's a moment, maybe while cleaning a drawer or unpacking a box, when you realize you've kept things for years without really using them, or even remembering you had them. We collect so much, convinced that someday we'll need it, or we hold on out of guilt, sentiment, or fear that we might regret letting go. But in doing so, we allow objects to weigh down our homes, our thoughts, and our energy. Japanese minimalism asks a hard but necessary question. If something no longer serves a purpose in your life, why are you still keeping it? This philosophy invites us to be ruthless, not in a cold way, but in a liberating one. It's not about discarding memories or becoming detached from life, it's about redefining value. That shirt you never wear, but keep because it reminds you of a moment, or that kitchen gadget collecting dust just in case, they all represent emotional anchors. But what if you honor the memory and release the item? What if you trusted that your happiness doesn't lie in what you store away? When you start living with only what truly matters, your environment becomes lighter, and surprisingly, so does your heart. There's a kind of freedom in a room that isn't filled to the brim. Japanese minimalism embraces this deeply, showing us that visible space has a power of its own. It's not just about physical neatness, it's about mental clarity. Every item you see, every corner you fill is processed by your mind. And the more clutter you live with, the more your brain has to juggle, even subconsciously. That's why stepping into a clean, quiet room can feel like a breath of fresh air. It's not just aesthetics, it's psychological relief. By simplifying your surroundings, you're also simplifying your decisions, your habits, and your thoughts. What you choose to keep becomes more meaningful because it has been chosen intentionally. That's when you start noticing how peace emerges not from having more, but from needing less. A clear space invites calm. An organized corner inspires focus. And when you remove what doesn't belong, you create room not just for minimal beauty, but for joy, rest, and even creativity. Japanese minimalism teaches us that the essence of life often hides behind what we remove, not what we add. When was the last time you truly experienced silence? Not just the absence of noise, but the kind of stillness that gives your thoughts room to breathe. In Japanese minimalism, silence isn't a void, it's a presence. The empty spaces on a wall, the clean surfaces in a room, the absence of constant visual input, these are forms of silence. And in that silence, there is clarity, there is intention, there is strength. Minimalist homes in Japan often appear sparse to the untrained eye, but what you're actually seeing is mindfulness. Every gap has a purpose. This kind of silence invites reflection. It gives the mind room to wander, not aimlessly, but meaningfully. When we're constantly surrounded by things, by sound, by activity, we lose the ability to hear our own inner voice. But when we embrace the quiet externally and internally, we create space for awareness, healing, and truth. Japanese minimalism shows us that true beauty often speaks in a whisper, not a shout. And once you get used to living in that silence, you begin to crave it. Because in the quiet, we're finally able to see what really matters, and more importantly, we begin to see ourselves. One of the most confronting parts of embracing Japanese minimalism is the realization that much of what we've been taught about success is tied to accumulation. We're told that more is better, more stuff, more goals, more achievements. But what if success isn't about gaining, but letting go? What if happiness isn't hiding behind the next purchase, but already waiting in the space you've refused to create? Japanese minimalism dares us to ask, what do we truly need to feel fulfilled? This philosophy redefines happiness not as something to chase, but something to nurture through simplicity. It's a radical shift from external validation to internal peace. You begin to value quality over quantity, presence over possession, and calm over chaos. Suddenly, your home becomes a sanctuary, not a storage unit. Your time becomes sacred, not overscheduled. Your identity becomes clearer, not cluttered by roles and things. This way of life may ask hard questions, but it offers gentle answers. And once you've tasted the clarity it brings, you'll never see your life or your belongings the same way again.